Welcome guys, welcome to the third day of the Java training. In the last module we have studied about operators, if-else statement and loops. In this chapter we'll be studying about arrays, that includes single dimension and two dimension arrays, and later on we'll be studying about the functions. So what are arrays? Arrays are just another way of storing data. They are the set of elements with same data type and same name but with different location in the memory. So the first element of an array always starts with 0. Now let's take an example here. Let's go to Eclipse and create a new project, new Java project, and we give it our name as Java module 3. Click on finish. Under this project we'll create a new class and give the class name as learning arrays, and we'll check the main method. We'll delete these comments. So what if you need to store and calculate the salary of 10 employees in a department? So as per the previous tutorials, you might be doing like int emp1 equal to, let's suppose, 5000, int employee2 equal to 6000, and so far till int employee 10. So you'll be storing values like this. So what if I have like 1000 employees in my company and I want to store the salary of those 1000 employees? So in that case I will end up writing code for 1000 lines, which is really a time consuming task. So to overcome this, Java comes with a concept of array. So what we can do here is create an array which will store all this data in one variable. So we'll write int, and this is how we'll create an array, and we'll say salary. In the next line we'll write salary equal to new int, and we'll give 10. So if we need to store like 10 values inside this integer salary is a variable and int is a data type. So this salary like is array like of integer data type. So it will gonna store the salary of 10 employees inside it. So we do not need to write like int employee 1 and employee 2 until int employee 10. So we can straight away create a array, integer array of salary, and we can store the 10 salary inside it. Same way we can, if we want to store if we want to change the data type to string, so we can write string months. Let's suppose we need to store the value of months, and we can simply say the month starting from like Jan, Feb, March, and so on. So we can store it up till like 12 months data over here. So in the memory it will be stored like this. So at the 0 index, January will be stored. At the first index, Feb will be stored, and in the second index, March will be stored. So now if I need to print the value of the January, so it's at the 0 index. So what I need to do, I need to write system.out.println, and I need to give the variable month and inside it I need to pass the 0 index. So if I save it and if I run it now as a Java application, so you'll see Jan is printed. Now to know the array length, we need to write system.out.println and we'll say month.length. So it will gonna print the length of this array and we'll run it. So we'll get the array length as 3. Now what if I need to print all the elements from the array? For that I'll create a for loop. I'll say for int I equal to 0 and I is less than month dot length and then I plus plus, and here I'll write system.out.println and I'll say month I. So it will gonna print all the values inside the array month. So if you see here, so all the values Jan, Feb, March are printed from the array. So now you can see here I have initialized I with 0. This is because the first element of the array index always begins with 0. So this is all about single dimension array. So this will really be helpful with Selenium when you will be automating a long form having so many fields like user information, first name, last name, address, etc. So you can put all these details in an array and use that while testing a form with different sets of data. Now we'll see some examples on the two-dimensional array. So this is the basic structure of a two-dimensional array. So here we have index 0, 0, then 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 2, 1 and 2, 2. So 0 represents the number of rows and the second 0 represents the number of columns. So now we'll initialize the two-dimensional array first. So what we'll say, we'll create a new class for the two-dimensional arrays. Create a new class and we'll say two-dimensional arrays, and we'll remove these comments, and here we'll say int rows equal to 3 and int columns equal to 3. So we'll initialize this array. We'll create an array of, let's suppose, table, and this is a two-dimensional array. So we'll say new int, and inside this we'll pass rows and then we'll pass the columns. So this is how we'll initialize the two-dimensional array. Now we're gonna assign the first value in first row. So how will we do that? We'll say table and we'll say 0 row and 0 column, and the data will be, let's suppose, 10, and then table 0 row first column, and then the value will be, let's suppose, 11. Same with table 0 row second column, and that data will be 12. And same way we'll assign the values to the second row and second row, second column, and third row and third column. So what we can do, we'll copy paste this. This is for the second row and this is for the third row. So over here we need to change the index to 1 and then here to the third column. And here we'll change the value to 20, 21, 22, and here 30, 31, 32. Now to to print the row length, we need to write system.out.println, and we'll say table dot length. So this will gonna print the row length for us. We'll run it. So the row length that we got is 3. So this is the row length. And same way for column length, we need to write table, and we need to give the index of that column dot length. So this will gonna give us the column length. So column length is also 3. So this is for the row length, and this is for the column length. Now to print the first dimension value, we'll write system.out.println, and we'll say table 0 0. So this will gonna give us the value of the first dimension. We'll save it, and this is the value from the first dimension that we got. So now to print the complete array in the rectangular form, we need to create a loop. We'll say for int I equal to 0, I is less than rows. We'll print the rows first, and then we'll say I plus plus. We'll create another loop. We'll say for int j equal to 0. Now we'll print the columns. J is less than columns, and we'll say j plus plus. And inside this, we'll say system.out.print. We'll not use println because we do not need to change it to the new line. We'll create one space here, and we'll say table I print j, and here we'll create a new line and put a space. So that's all that we need to do to print data in rectangular format. Right, now we'll save it and we'll run it. So if you see, that data for the complete array has been printed. So two-dimensional array data can be printed in this way. So this is all about arrays. There's one limitation with arrays, that array size needs to be predefined before we use it. There are times while doing automation of a web page, for example, there's a menu list and items in the list keeps on increasing. So we do not know what the actual numbers of items are present in the menu list. And for that case, we have array list, which is a part of collection API. And that will cover in coming chapters. But again, arrays are also really important part in Selenium and will be used a lot while creating automation scripts. So now let's move on to our last topic of basic programming, that is methods, or what you call functions. So after this we'll move on to the object oriented programming, that is OOPS. So let's talk about methods. Methods are also known as functions. So now what are methods? Let's take an example. Let's open up a calculator. So if I do 2 plus 4, then it will return 6, and then 4 plus 6, it will return 10. So whenever you click on plus button, it adds two numbers. So there is a method written for addition of two numbers and can be used again and again, but adding new values every time, it will perform the same task. So let's take another option, that why it is important in terms of Selenium. Let's suppose there's a website and there are lots of links and buttons in that website. So what we will do, we'll write a Selenium code to click on those particular links and buttons. And for that, we'll create a function, we'll create a method that is click, and inside click method, we'll write the code and we'll write the logic what we want that function to do. And then we can use that function again and again without writing the definition of that function every time when we use it. Now let's see how we create a function. So we'll create a new class and we'll give it a name as, let's suppose, learning functions. And so inside this class I'll create a function, I'll name it as public static void, let's say print. So what this function will gonna do, this function will gonna print something. Let's say I'll print out learning functions, and in the main method I'll call this print. So whenever I run this code, it will print learning functions. So it will, in the main method I have called this function and it has returned what's been written inside this function body. So here void means that the function will not return any value. So we'll see what public, what static means in the next chapter when we'll study about the object-oriented programming. So till that, don't get confused and take it in the way it is for now. Now we'll create another method which will gonna add two numbers. So what we'll say, we'll declare the variables first. We'll say public static int a equal to 30, and in the next line I'll say public static int b equal to, let's say, 20. Now I want to add these two numbers. I need to create a method that will gonna add these two numbers. For that I'll create a method public static void add numbers, and what I'll do, inside this I'll write int c equal to a plus b, right? And after that I'll print and say addition of two numbers are, and then I'll give c over here, and in the main method I'll call this add numbers method. That's it. That's all we need to do. And if I run it now, it will give me the addition of two numbers are 50. So it will call these values from here and it will calculate it inside the numbers, and when I call this method, then it will gonna print the addition of two numbers are 50, right? I'll let you know why I have added the static keyword here in the next chapter. So there are other ways of adding the numbers, and that is to pass it in a form of an argument. So how will we do that? We'll say public, we'll create another method, we'll say public static void add numbers, give it a same name, and inside it we'll pass on the argument int r and s, and here we'll say int add equal to r plus s, and then we'll print this and we'll say addition of two numbers r plus add, and in the main method we'll call it as add numbers, and we'll pass in the argument like 30 and 40. And if I run it now, so it will gonna return me 70. So this thing is known as function overloading. So what we have done, we have created the method of the same name but with different arguments. So this is known as function overloading or method overloading, when we have same function with different arguments. So what if I remove this void from here? If I remove this void, then I need to specify the return type. So I'll remove this from here, and instead of this I'll write return add, and I need to specify the add number as int, public static int add numbers, and it will return add. And over here I need to specify, I need to write int, let's suppose result equal to add numbers this, and I need to now print result, and if I save it and I need to run it again, and it will give me the result as 70. So this we only do in the case we want the method should return some value. Otherwise we'll put a void and we'll return the value inside the method itself. Now let's create a new method which will gonna generate the table of the provided number. So whatever, let's suppose we'll create a new class and we'll say method, sorry, what name should we give? We'll give print tables. We'll check method, and inside here we'll create a method that is public static void table, and inside it we'll pass an argument t, and in that definition we'll write for int I equal to 1, and we need to print it till 10. I is less than equal to 10, I plus plus, and then we'll write system.out.println, and we'll say t into I, and in the main method I'll call this table method, and it has an argument t, so I need to specify the value of t. Let's suppose we need to print the table of 4. That's all that we need to do, and if I run this, it will gonna print the table of 4. Same way, if I specify any other number, let's suppose 10, then it will gonna print the table of 10. So we'll do only this much in the current module. So we'll know more about static, non-static functions in our next module, when we'll study about OOPS, that is object oriented programming. So till that time you can go through, you can Google around, and you can search for more examples on methods and functions in Java, and this stuff will really gonna help you in understanding those examples in and like working with those examples. So thanks a lot for your time. We'll meet again in the next module. Thank you.